Hey everybody, I'm Nate, and welcome to my channel. Today is actually the very last day of Sling Slam 2021, a annual contest put on by Round Square. I entered that, and there was a couple other divisions this year, which was really fun to kind of enter into. So there was Begleri, and then there was MK Ultras, and there were K-Bone, and there were Chetkis as well. That's the last one there was the only one I didn't enter, simply because I don't have one yet. So at some point, if I get one, maybe next year, if they have the same entries, anyways, whatever. And I figured it would be fitting to go ahead and do the next installment of how to sling Begleri with my friends here, the cicadas here today. They're very, very loud today. I'm so sorry about that, but hopefully we can get through that. But the point is, I figured, you know, it was a good timing for that. You know, the timing would have been better if I'd done this before, you know, Sling Slam began, to give you a little bit more maybe, but I've been busy, okay? I've been busy. Anyways, on to what we're gonna learn today. So here's our 3 concepts. Now, each one of these videos has kind of been building, and I'm not necessarily saying these are the next 3 tricks you should learn. It kind of gets jumbled up at this point, right? You might find something a little easier than others. Some tricks build on themselves, some tricks don't. Some of the tricks we're gonna learn today will build on things that we've learned, okay? But the first thing we're gonna do is learn Cliffhanger, which there's actually a couple other elements within that we're gonna learn from Cliffhanger. Okay, we'll talk about that. So that's the first one. And then we're going to learn drop whirls, which we learned a half whirl a while back. And then the last one we're gonna learn is Zoot, which is deceptively different than a half whirl, okay? So that's the 3 tricks we're gonna focus on. And as usual, in between there, we're gonna cover a few other little things that you can throw into your combos, okay? All right, first one again we're gonna do is Cliffhanger. So let's go ahead and switch the camera around and give you a little bit of a different angle for that, all right? All right, so here we go, Cliffhanger. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how it looks first, and then I'll break it down for you, okay? So there's the basic idea. We're in a low grip here. So we're now in a regular low grip, but what we're gonna need to do is get into a fakie low grip in order to kind of pass this over into our index finger to get it into top grip, okay? So there's a couple ways to do that. So here's the first thing that I haven't covered in a previous video, but it's actually what sometimes is called a 3-finger roll, but it's basically a pass over the top 3. So you're kind of just switching beads, okay? So you're here, okay, and then you're gonna pass over, and then you're gonna then pinch here and let go of the bead. And so now you're in a fakie grip, okay? So now you can then do the Cliffhanger sort of thing. And from here, you're gonna swing it back around, okay? You're gonna let go, and you're gonna put your index finger out, and you're gonna be Spider-Man for a second, all right? And then you're gonna swing it to the top and let it kind of just rest there. And you can go ahead and swing it back if you want, and swing it back and forth. If you want to keep going with that, you can end in the top or in the bottom, whatever you want. You can do a finger roll with that. However you want to end that, you can do that, okay? So again, we're here, and we're gonna get into a fakie, and then we're gonna go here, all right? Sometimes it'll catch like that. You can even, that's kind of a fun closer actually. You could do that at the end of a trick. You could turn your hand over and kind of do, I don't know. Again, mess with it, right? See whatever feels cool to you, all right? So then there's that, all right? We're gonna go back and forth, and you can do that as many times as you want. And then you can drop it on the ground and whatever you wanna do, okay? That's always one of my favorite closers, is the ground stall here, as it's called sometimes. So again, just like that, okay? You can also get into a fakie low grip with a pinky roll, okay? Okay. Now the last thing we're gonna do here, now what a lot of people do, and I myself included, is not always necessarily do, you know, the Cliffhanger sort of motion and kind of go back and forth and all that, is actually do a sort of pass or transfer into the top grip. And it's a really great way to get from bottom grip back up to high grip, okay? So again, you're gonna get into that fakie however you want, okay? And instead of passing back and forth and kind of keeping your hands like Spider-Man here, is you're actually going to let the bead come up here, okay? And as you come in, you're gonna do a half cab, okay? Or a half roll rather, and that's gonna land you back into the mid grip, okay? So it's a really cool way to kind of just bounce the beads around, okay? And you can kind of mess with it however you want. I kind of just did a whirl around the back, okay? But again, you're gonna pinch here, so you're gonna drop it off, okay, just like you would do. It's just the first stage of the cliffhanger, and then you're gonna go ahead and keep rolling the bead down, and these fingers are gonna kind of roll the bead down. Now we haven't gotten into a bead roll, okay? But that's what we're doing. We're doing what's called a half cab roll, okay? I believe Musclebone coined that term, I think. All right, so we're here again, and that's just a cool way to transfer and kind of going back and forth, and then you can do whatever you want. So there it is in full motion. Okay, all right, there you go. That's the first trick. Okay, so our next trick is going to be a drop whirl, and this one's a little bit tricky, quite a bit. It took me a while to get this one down, but you are gonna need to know how to do a whirl. So I have, or a half whirl, I'm sorry, not a whirl, but a half whirl, which I have in a previous one, so I'll go ahead and have a link to all my previous videos there. But I do have a playlist here on my channel, and that includes all my Begleri stuff, so any Begleri reviews, but I do have all the videos there from video number 1. So if you're brand new to watching these and you're like, have no clue what you're watching here as far as these tricks, you might want to go back and look at some of those others. But all the Sling Begleri tutorials are on there. So go back and watch this one if you don't know how to do a half whirl, but a half whirl looks like this, okay? Which you're in mid grip here, and you're passing back into a fakie, and you're pinching here, and then it comes back, okay? So that's what you need to know first. Let's go ahead and switch the camera around, and we'll talk more about how to do that, transition from that into a drop whirl, okay? All right, so as I said, we're gonna start in mid grip here, and again, I'll show you again, if you know, maybe you can get it from slowing it down, what a half whirl looks like, but you're gonna pinch here, okay? So it's gonna go back, and it's gonna actually go into a fakie in the back here and top grip, and then it's gonna pinch around, and then it's gonna come back around. So it's gonna go to the back of the hand and come back forward, and as you do that, then you're gonna let go, and it's gonna go back into, you're gonna do a half cab back into mid grip, okay. So here's what a drop whirl looks like, all right, and then I'll break it down. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So it's a really cool way to get in from mid grip, and then up to a fakie high grip, and then down into a low grip. It's a really cool way to do that. So it looks like this. So here's what you're gonna end up doing, is there's some dexterity that needs to happen. You're gonna actually get used to this sort of, again, sort of a modified Spider-Man sort of thing. You're gonna be not pinching, I'm sorry, but kind of touching your middle finger into your palm here. Whereas when this happens, okay, this is where it's pinching. So if you have beads that are any smaller than this, I wouldn't recommend that at first, because a larger bead might actually work, even larger than these maybe even. But pinching in the back, this is what's gonna happen. Your index finger and your ring finger are gonna be pinching the bead there and holding it steady. So it's like this. Again, it's kind of awkward, okay? It's gonna take some getting used to, and that muscle memory is gonna have to click in, but that's the idea. Pass in here, and as you do that, you're pulling your middle finger in, okay? Allowing that to pinch there. So my pointer finger and my index finger kind of are touching here, so that it's not gonna like fall out. So if I put it down like this, it's not gonna fall out, okay? And so, again, and then you're gonna roll back into here. And you're gonna let it go, and you're gonna let it fall down into low grip, Okay, so again, it looks like this. As it comes in, what's gonna happen is you're gonna then pinch here and let it pinch into low grip and let the bead fall, okay? All right, so that is a drop whirl. It is a bit tricky. It's gonna take some getting used to. It takes a little bit more dexterity. I'll go ahead and show it to you one more time in slow motion. So here we go. Okay, the last one here we're gonna learn is a zoot, and I'm not sure if this one's really harder or more simple than the drop whirl or a half whirl. I do think it's harder, at least it was for me. I actually got the drop whirl first, and for a while I thought I was actually doing a zoot when indeed I was actually doing a half whirl. So what's really gonna happen, what the big difference is it's not really gonna be that pinch back here, all right? It's actually gonna be, the bead's gonna be going around the finger, and it's actually, from what I understand, sort of more like a pen spinning move. I don't do that. And so some of these moves that are kind of like easily transferred over from things like belly song or pen spinning, I don't do either one of those. And so, you know, maybe there's a little less learning curve for people who already do some of those skill toys. But all that to say, that's the next one. So let's go ahead and switch it around again and let's learn a zoot. All right, here we go again. So this is actually a really cool trick to do as a repeater again. Now a zoot, the biggest difference, and you're gonna really maybe see more of this on the slow motion part of this trick, is to, instead of pinching back here, okay, and holding that in a fakie there, you're actually gonna let it spin around the finger, okay? So there's not a deliberate pinch. All right, so that's what it looks like, and you can throw this as a repeater. You can keep going over and over again, where it's one zoot after another, and so on. Now, I would recommend that you have a pretty dry hands with this right now. We've been out here for a while, and it's kind of muggy, so it's the paracord's sticking just a little bit. And you can kind of maybe tell a little bit of that, but it's still technically a zoot, but it does slip a little bit easier if you have dry hands and a dry cord, okay? So if your hands are a little bit muggy like mine are getting, because this is the last trick I'm filming on this, maybe want to go inside and learn this trick, or in less humid weather like I have right now in Central Ohio. Plus I'm getting bit up like crazy. Anyways, you know, I watched Muscle Bones' trick of this like a billion times before it actually clicked. And he mentions a lot in the video that all the motion kind of happens in the back, right? The back of the hand. And that's absolutely true, because as it comes back, this is where my pointer finger is kind of allowing it to kind of fall in, all right? And it's kind of weird. It's gonna be one of those ones that it might take a minute to click, because there's not much I can actually tell you as far as huge helpful tips. Now, one thing I will mention is that if you learned a half whirl first, which I did, and that one clicked a little bit easier and kind of came a little more natural, your grip, especially as it goes back here, it needs to be a little bit looser, okay? Because you're not actually deliberately pinching, which feels a little bit more natural, right? Because the paracord has give to it and it's not a solid piece like a pen would be if you're doing pen spinning, you have to be a little bit more loosey-goosey, if that's the right term. And as with all tricks that we've learned so far, it's really essential in this that you're keeping those beads towards the front of your fingers, okay? So really, those are the two main tips that I think I would give you, is that keeping it towards the front of your fingers, right? So that it's very deliberately, because if it's way back here, it's gonna kind of just get caught up in the base of your hand towards the palm. So keeping those fingers loose, right? Keeping that, there's really not a tight grip there between your index and middle finger, all right? Unlike there is with a whirl, or half whirl, rather. All right, there you have it for today. There are your 3 tricks and a couple other little elements sprinkled in between. All right, hopefully that was helpful. These are, I think, some of the hardest elements and little tricks, mini tricks to kind of throw into your combo, but they are very rewarding. Especially Zoot for me was super rewarding, and when I got it, like it kind of just unlocked something in my brain that I realized, wait a minute, I think I finally got it, right? Because there was something broken there for a while, and it took a minute to actually kind of get that right. So hopefully as you kind of learn this, you will get probably frustrated with some of these at first, and I think Zoot has been frustrating for most everybody who tried it at first, but it will unlock if you keep at it. So keep at it, take these tricks, learn them and learn them well, and so you can throw them into your combos. And until the next one, happy slinging, everybody. All right, later.